Good morning, everyone. Good morning. There are still few people coming in, so they will move in quietly because we have to start on time. It's really great to be back in person. And I would just like to start by thanking all of you, the students, colleagues, our community partners, our esteemed keynote speakers, President Khuri, Director Dorothee, for being with us today in the AUB Engage Forum. I will just be very short and quick and extend our extreme thanks and gratitude to first the CCS family, by name Hala Flayhan, Karen, Rabi Hajj, Sarah Kuzi, Milay, Sarah Abu Matar, Lina, Clara, Raghida, Lynn, and everyone who's been highly committed and dedicated to making this event as a big celebration, as you will see, for the rest of the day. So just a big clap for the CCS team. Second, to Dr. Lina Ghaibi and the motion graphics class, the amazing work that they've done, and you will be shortly seeing the clips that they've done for our CSPs, and also a big clap for the motion graphics team. All of AUB supporting unit, namely the lead, all of the directors who are with us today, the USP, Malik, Samar, Hani, the Maha, Rabi', Joseph, and all the supporting unit, honestly, the OGC, procurement, admissions, everyone whose contribution made it today, it will make it a big success, because this is a real full-fledged collaborative effort throughout all the units and departments at AUB. Also, our thanks to the Provost Office, Provost Dawi, and the Vice Provost Lina, who really believe in what we're doing, and they're genuinely highly committed for pushing the boundaries of civic engagement, and hopefully by next year you will see a new transformation of our center. Thanks, Zahir. And also the last thank you for today's amazing moderators, Rima Rasid, Jocelyn, Hala Flayhan, and Isam Shurs. Thank you for being with us. So today's event we will maximize on the presence of Director Dorothee and President Khuri. The first hour, we will start with the keynote speeches, followed by the amazing work of we will have Nisreen. Nisreen also is our student opening speech, followed by the motion graphic videos. Then the rest of the day, as you know, we will go through the various panels. Thank you for everyone. President Khuri, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rabia. Thank you, Rabia. First of all, Rabia always thanks everyone, but we never properly thank him. What he's done at this university is to really actualize experiential learning and make sure that all the various stakeholders understand that they're partners in a long-term enterprise of not just nation and state building, but really of the journey of citizenship. I'll talk a little bit about that more on Saturday, but citizenship has to be about the duality of belonging, but also accountability. You can't just belong. You have to be accountable for what's in your nation state. So I want to start by talking about how important this experiential learning is for our students. Today, college education, if it doesn't shift to include more experiential learning, more modern technology, will largely become a thing of the past. The technology has improved so much, and I'm told I should preface my speeches by saying, no, this was not written by ChatGPT, is that we have to take it responsibility for delivering the kind of content, the kind of student experience that it's at the heart of the transformation the provost and deputy provost and the leadership that you see seated out front are interested in. We want our students to leave here as responsible, confident citizens of the world. And I can't think of a program that's more critical for that than CCECS, which really empowers people and shows them that they are responsible. They are their sister and brother's keeper. For me, it's a pleasure and privilege to welcome Dr. Dorothee Klaus here, because she works in an area that's near and dear to certainly my heart and the heart of many of us, with UNRWA. And I'm old enough when I can remember that the UNRWA schools were the match of any schools in Lebanon. When I was a student at IC, I was good at math and English, and I would head over to the camps and teach a little bit in those areas they needed, something I managed to do for the first few years of the war until my father caught me going under bombing to teach. So it's very important to realize that we have responsibility for all of the people who are our neighbors, whether they're in this country or other countries. And the simplistic and often nauseating dialogue that blames the Syrian refugees for everything that's gone wrong in Lebanon. I hear it at dinner, I hear it everywhere. It's nonsense. The country has plenty of problems of its own, and yet it has a massive responsibility for about 1.5 million citizens that, candidly, the European community, the EU, and the United States and the world have let us down because of this idiotic model of concentrating on the guests and missing the host communities. And this is at the heart of what CCECS does. They engage both the civic, through civic enterprises, both the host community and the guests, so that they have a common goal. I've always said that the advantage that the Western world has found, and let's remember that the Western world civilization was founded in this Eastern Mediterranean cradle. So the advantage that the Western world has consistently put forward is that they have managed to find common ground to coalesce their interests. And that is not something that the people of this region are incapable of. But the way to show a path forward is to develop genuinely win-win projects. And CCS has done that exceptionally well. And I'm excited to see the next point where this experiential learning and the co-curricular learning that's beautifully exemplified with a fantastic opportunity for truly seditious thinking in comic books becomes part of the core curriculum. So what's the core role of CCECS, of the Center for Civic Engagement and Community Service? I think it's frankly modeling the type of unified Lebanon that AUB wants to see in a time of rising racism against refugees, intercommunal tensions. We are about bringing people together, giving them common projects, and not only adding to the outstanding didactic education and distance learning that young folks get here, but giving people confidence. It is a sacred privilege for universities to receive the best and brightest kids. And the least we can do is make sure that they leave the university more confident, more competent, more ethical, and more capable than the way they came in. Something that I would say more than 85% of the universities in Lebanon are simply incapable of doing, so-called universities. So what's the path forward? In my opinion, the path forward is partnerships, internal partnerships, as you're seeing and you'll hear today, between Samar, between CCECS, which helped birth Samar, between the Center for Common Arts, between other things, but also external partnerships. From my perspective, AUB, which has been the university that the vast majority of Palestinian intellectuals would call their university, has to accept some responsibility for UNRWA. We cannot allow the standards of education to fall further, neither in the public schools in Lebanon, nor in the schools that are specialized in educating refugees, be they Palestinian, Syrian, Iraqi. So how do we do that? How do we go beyond just talk? One of the ways to do that is to engage both the host and the refugee community, not just in common projects, but in defined learning goals. And those defined learning goals cannot include a reduction in standards, neither at the Lebanese public school level nor in other areas. And those standards have been falling in this country ever since the end of the Civil War, with every other excuse to cut school days, with every excuse to fail to support public education, be it at the schools or at the universities, comes a further generation whose potential has not been properly tapped. One of the things that I think is critical and continues to separate this Levantine swath of the world, and in particularly Lebanon, is the continued valuing and protection of freedom of expression and thought. In my view, and that of many, I believe, the creativity that the people of this region have been capable of is directly tied to continued freedom of thought and expression. This is something we need to get into the schools at the earliest possible opportunity. As the father of 3 children and the stepfather of many thousand more, punishment doesn't work. What does work is correction, is education, is support, and is the opportunity to make mistakes. Mistakes are the greatest learning intervention we have, nonviolent mistakes. So I would urge today all of the folks to think about the possibility to encourage people to do their best, to speak their mind, and to be encouraged to be allowed to make mistakes, and not to correct those mistakes or any unpleasant thought with harsh corrective punitary measures. They don't work. They lead to suppressed societies. And I, for one, think I can speak for the AUB community when I say we would not trade the chaotic expression, but sincere expression of ideas and interchange of thoughts that takes place on this campus, and we hope continue to take place across this country, for a safer, autocratic, quieter environment. With that, I'm going to say thank you, and I'll ask I'll ask Rabia to introduce Dr. Klaus. I believe you're going to introduce him.
So I lately met with Dr. Dorothee Klaus through our friends at Lebanese Palestinian Dialogue Committee. Thank you, Laila, for initiating that connection. So Dorothee has lately taken position in leading Lebanon office. I know that you were in Jordan before. Your mandate have been working with refugees and in the development field for a long time. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you so much, President Fadlo Khuri, Rabia, friends, colleagues. It really is an honor to be able to address this very promising audience of young students and scholarship takers. I'm particularly heartened to understand that we have a lot of UNRWA graduates, school graduates in the audience. Could I just maybe see a raise of hands? Who are you? One. Okay. I understand there might be some other Palestine refugees, since some of the projects that you're going to present are also addressing issues in the Palestine refugee community. So it's very heartening to understand that you, who not only excel in academic performance and skills and competencies, are willing to pursue your academic careers, but you're actually inclined to return something to your communities, and that's represented in your projects. So you're not only interested in acquiring academic skills, but you're actually also interested in acquiring social skills by understanding the community, working with the community, and addressing some of the issues. Now, as UNRWA, as an institution, we have an interest in partnering, and that speaks to what you've mentioned, the importance of partnerships. We're interested to reaching out to you as young intellectuals, as socially responsible adults, to come to us as UNRWA as advisors, but also to support what we're doing with our programs. For example, we have a crisis in the education system at UNRWA. And unfortunately, we're not only able to attribute that to the economic crisis and COVID, but we have to do a bit of soul searching. And it seems that over the past decades, there's been a drop in the quality of education that UNRWA has been providing. And that is very serious. Because for Palestine refugees, education is all. Palestine refugees have lost land. In Lebanon, they're struggling because they have very little rights in terms of civil rights, no right to work in the professions, no right to property, no right to social security. So our children must excel and they must do better to compete and to possibly have a future by moving onwards. So scholarships at the American University of Beirut is of course an absolute prize that will allow them to move on. But we're hearing that more and more it's difficult to identify those students in our education system that actually have the qualifications to move on. So what I would like to do is to reach out maybe to a group of you, especially those among you that have attended any UNRWA schools, yeah, great, to understand a bit better what your experience was in our education system and to help us identify some of the reasons why we had that significant drop against the national average. UNRWA currently only performs at 50% learning achievements against the national average of 80% of students achieving the learning requirements. It's a crisis and we need to address it. So I really welcome the partnership with AUB to identify some of these issues, but also to reach out to you as young and promising students, maybe to help us work on this. I've looked at some of the projects that you're going to present which relate to Palestine refugees and refugee camps. And it really speaks to your brave-heartedness and your commitment and your curiosity to address exactly those issues that we as UNRWA as an institution are most struggling with and that we understand are some of the most challenging. And that is drug abuse, it's sexual and gender-based violence, and it is providing psychosocial support to those persons that have tried to emigrate and failed. Some of the saddest aspects that we've seen in the community. Drug abuse is something that we still don't adequately understand. It is related to the governance context in the Palestine refugee camps, which pose a continued challenge, and we're working on it with the Lebanese Palestinian Dialogue Committee to hopefully see a change. But it also requires a change in the political awareness among some of the Lebanese stakeholders, as well as on the Palestinian side. And it requires a lot of advocacy to approach this issue of governance in the camps and the prevalence of drugs, which is very, very destructive on the society as a reflection of the lack of governance in the Palestine refugee camps. So again, we see you as a critical mass with your projects to help us address this in many ways and at the different levels. Sexual and gender-based violence. It is something very, very terrible. I've just visited one of our staff in the hospital who was shot in the legs by her husband. She told me that for 30 years she's been enduring continued abuse by her husband and she's never spoken about it. Nobody knew about it until it came to the worst. She's about to lose her legs through amputation. Her 2 daughters were shot as well by the same husband who then killed himself. All of them are in the risk of having their legs having to be amputated. We're hoping that we can gain them as advocates to address the silence in the community around gender-based violence, and very heartened to learn that you have a project addressing exactly that. Mental health and psychosocial support to those that have failed in their endeavors to migrate is something of great concern to us, and we haven't really figured out how to address it, but we know that 30% of the Palestine refugees intend to migrate. They're making active preparations to leave the country because there seems to be no future for them. It's the 4th generation since 1948, still no civil rights. Where to go, where to belong, and the boats seem to be the best opportunity for some of them. We hope to be able to work with you, with AUB, with the Center on Civil Rights, also to advance some of the civil rights for Palestine refugees, and we count on you as a young audience to support us in this endeavor. Thank you very much.
So the last speech will be from our student Nisreen Azizi from Afghanistan.
dear President Khuri, Dr. Klaus, esteemed guests, and fellow students. I'm Nasreen Azizeh from Afghanistan, a senior student of Political Science and Public Administration at AUB. It's a very great honor to be on this stage today to talk to you about my Afghan sisters who have been educationally left behind for over a year in Afghanistan. I would like to start with a short video. In this clip, we see the harsh reality of Afghan girls mourning for their right to education. I want to ask you to put yourself in their shoes for a moment. Imagine if you were born in Afghanistan and you were told that you cannot go to school simply because of your gender. Imagine how different your life would be if you were denied the opportunity to learn and grow and to pursue your passions. Imagine a country where the potential and talents of half of its population are wasted and where progress and development are stifled by discrimination and prejudice. Today, I would like to bring your attention to the issue of Afghan girls and women who have been educationally marginalized for more than a year. I want to introduce you to Summer Academy, which is an online empowerment platform committed to providing educational support to these women. But first, I will discuss education as a global challenge. In 2023, 263 million children and youth are out of school. 139 of them are at upper secondary school level. These numbers are very alarming. According to Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, education is a fundamental human right. Education protects children from danger. It allows the expression of creativity, and it is the most important and fundamental tool for women empowerment. Through education, girls and women can gain the knowledge and skills they need to improve their lives and the lives of those around them. They are provided with the confidence and agency to make their own decisions and pursue their dreams, whether that be in the workforce, in their families, or in their communities. And currently, Afghanistan is exceptionally the only country in the world that do not allow girls to pursue secondary school and university. Historically, Afghanistan has had its ups and downs. Between 1960 and 1996, there was a significant increase in the number of girls attending school. However, between 1996 and 2001, when the Taliban ruled the country, they placed a complete ban on education for girls and women. During the period of 2001 and 2018, there was a considerable growth in the number of girls enrolled in schools and university, with 3.8 million attending primary and secondary education. Unfortunately, history repeated itself on August 15, 2021, when the Taliban once again took over the country. Following the country's takeover, all educational institutions were immediately closed, with a promise to allow girls to return to school by March 2022. However, when the long-awaited day arrived, the girls were turned away and instructed to wait until further notice. It has been now 590 days since secondary female students have been unable to attend school in Afghanistan. As if this were not enough, the Taliban's subsequent decree in December 2022 banned all Afghan girls from attending university. The problem has been severe to the point that even taxi drivers have been ordered not to transport girls to universities. Aside from the education, Afghan girls are also banned from all social, political, and civic activities, leading to their complete social exclusion, early and forced marriages, and lack of access to work. Fortunately, I was born in the year 2000 and had the privilege of being among the girls who received an education during this time. This made me realize the importance of education and its life-changing impact, and inspired me to act and make a difference, especially in this challenging time of my country. This led me to the creation of Summer Educational Academy. Summer is an online empowerment platform that advocates for women's rights by providing them with quality education. We believe that education is a key tool for breaking the cycles of violence and oppression that Afghan women are currently suffering from. Investing in girls' and women's education is not only a moral imperative, but also a strategic choice that can bring about positive social and economic outcomes for everyone. In addition to the language and capacity building sessions offered by Summer Educational Academy, we are trying to help in the well-being of our students who have been home present for more than a year. Through our engaging classes and events, we want to decrease their isolation as much as possible. My goal is to bring attention to stories of marginalized individuals while ensuring the safety of our students. At Summer, we draw inspiration from the ancient collection of animal fables called Kalila and Demna, which used allegories to reflect the social and political context of its time. Despite being written 13 centuries ago, the fables remain relevant to today's world, particularly in illustrating the oppressions of male-dominated societies like Afghanistan. My approach is similar, where we use language as a tool for women to express themselves in secure environments. By providing a safe platform, we empower these women to share their experiences with an international audience, much like the political messages were decoded from Kalina and Demna's animal fables. The aim is to keep their voices resonating and resonating loudly and to initiate a wave of change. I will play a video of a testimony of one of our students.
I'm a student in 7th class at the school where would be opened, but unfortunately at the time don't allow the girls to go to school. Now I'm studying English and summer education academy. I'm studying English because I want to continue my education in other countries. It's the only way that we can make our future. My favorite hobbies are riding a bike and drawing. My goal is be an engineer.
The coded has long been used as a means of challenging authority and promoting justice. With a focus on safeguarding students' identities, Summer provides a platform that enables students to exercise agency, connect with others, and mobilize to assert their right to education and participation in the public sphere. Since I established Summer in June 2022, we have had tens of volunteers with us. In the current semester at Summer, we are honored to have 6 volunteers from the AUB community. Some of them are in the audience today. Let's give them a round of applause for their amazing service. We cannot control where we are born or in what circumstances we are born into, but we can choose to use our privileges and resources to help those who are less fortunate. The world cannot stand by and watch as an entire generation of Afghan women is robbed of their future. Join me in supporting the rights of Afghan women in ensuring that they are not forgotten or abandoned in their struggle for freedom and equality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nasreen, for such an inspirational talk. I forgot also to thank Ala. With Ala, thank you, Ala. With Lina, what you will about to see now is also part of the partnership that Dr. Khuri was mentioning.
Child exposure.
We're at a phase whereby the extracurricular and civic engagement, hopefully by next year, will be part of the general education. And the way we're going to do it is not by professors or faculty members trying to inspire or preach, because this is the first thing I hear, when we conduct the workshops, is some of the students who challenge us, me personally, they will look at me as, what is it that you've done before? Because, we're talking a lot, and I love that kind of a challenge. So this time, as of next year, and I think AUB will definitely be the only university that I know of who will be bold enough to embark on such an endeavor, whereby students will be inspiring other students. So what we will be doing today, you are part of a journey whereby where all what you're presenting here, we will tap into it, we will document it. It will be part of our online general education, and the videos that thankfully Lina, the motion and graphic design students, Ala, have done with us will be part of that course. So for the ones who cannot be with us for the rest of the day, what you're about to see, it will give you like snapshots of what the students will be presenting. So every video is part of the class was designed. 2 students in the graphic, motion graphic designed 1 minute for every project.
Child exposure to gun violence leads to aggressive feelings, post-traumatic stress disorder, and a desensitization to violence. Approximately 1/3 of Lebanese citizens privately own guns, primarily in poor neighborhoods including Lebanon's Palestinian refugee camp, Ain al-Helwa. Such a lawless environment with frequent armed conflicts between rivals traumatizes the children. No effort is taken to protect these kids, whose schools are forced to close for 2 weeks at a time.
One school in particular is located at the center of this crossfire, damaging its infrastructure and leaving the students helpless. Furthermore, ambulances struggle to access this area due to its unsafe conditions and narrow roads. Therefore, the team has designed a community service project to provide emergency and psychological first aid training to teachers as well as students, to prevent possibly fatal injury complications, since hospitals in the area can only deal with superficial gun wounds. Activities to help the children work through their trauma, such as painting, will be implemented, encouraging them to confront their feelings instead of suppressing them.
Many countries around the world have weak or non-existent juvenile justice systems, which can result in young people who break the law being treated as adults and being subjected to dangerous and inappropriate conditions, filled with conflict, violence, and abuse. The juvenile justice system in Lebanon faces numerous challenges, including a lack of digital processing of their files, storage, and access to information, as well as a lack of surveillance cameras in areas where children are transferred to. To address these challenges, a team of computer science students are developing a mobile application to facilitate the workflow of the Mount Lebanon Juvenile Court. The application will serve as an internal information sharing and storing database. It will also incorporate a security camera feature to monitor what takes place inside interrogation rooms and child protection units, protecting children against abuse, violence, and safeguarding their right to fair justice.
The World Health Organization implies that sexual violence is unwanted sexual advances and acts, which may range from verbal harassment and intimidation to physical violence, pressure, assault, and abuse. It affects women of all ages and backgrounds, especially in patriarchal societies. International campaigns such as the Me Too movement have drawn attention to this issue, encouraging victims to speak out. Sexual violence is widespread in the MENA region, particularly in Lebanon, where 78% of female respondents reported experiencing sexual harassment. Law 205 made sexual harassment a crime, but overlooks important factors like weak labor laws, lack of clear complaint, and reporting mechanisms. The Say More campaign is a 5-week anti-harassment intervention targeting 200 Palestinian adults and girls in Burj al-Rajni camp in Lebanon to end the stigma from sexual violence, lessen the stress coming from feelings of shame, fear, and isolation, and create a safe reporting mechanism inside the camp. Weekly community sessions will be organized to raise awareness on sexual harassment, including consent and the need of reporting sex-based incidents, and self-defense classes, which will be given by trainers.
By 2021, around 2 million people worldwide, including refugees and children, were forced to flee their homes due to conflict, violence, and natural disasters. These displaced populations experienced traumatic events back home, stress, and trauma during displacement. Many refugees are at risk of drug use, gang involvement, and other behavioral issues. Drugs were easily available and in use across refugee camps in Lebanon, including Ain al-Helwa, one of the largest and most overcrowded camps. In addition, due to the tough economic conditions, lack of parental supervision, and peer pressure, many young refugees were involved in drug dealing. The team designed a community service project to reduce drug addiction rates among youth in Ain al-Hilwa through theater-based peer education. Using theater as an educational tool whereby peers perform an interactive play to other peers, the team will promote community awareness and understanding of the risks associated with drug use. The use of live theater is to encourage discussion, debate, and engagement on substance abuse and to influence the knowledge, attitudes, and behavior of the youth.
Period poverty is the struggle where women are unable to afford or access menstrual products. This may resort to dangerous, unhygienic methods to manage periods, like leaving a pad on for too long, which can cause medical issues, affect their mental health, and overall quality of life. This can lead women to stay home from school and work, affecting their careers and futures. Because of Lebanon's deep economic crisis, along with a decline in its national currency, the price of menstrual products has risen, and many women in Lebanon are no longer able to buy pads or tampons. Saida is the third largest city in an underprivileged region in Lebanon that is faced with poor socioeconomic conditions, resulting in 75% of women struggling with period poverty. To address this issue, the team have designed a community service project to produce affordable, organic, local pads called SEEDS,
short for Strengthen, Embrace, Empower, Dignify, and Support.
SEEDS will be manufactured by women using local, biodegradable, and sustainable raw materials, specifically banana stems that consist of the strong fiber with a high absorption quality. One banana stem can produce almost 3,000 menstrual pads. Driven by women for women, SEEDS is designed to empower women as workforces and support women, giving them access to affordable menstrual products.
Asbestos is a naturally occurring, strong, and heat-resistant mineral fiber that has been widely used in construction. It's a cheap and easy-to-access material. However, long-term exposure to it can lead to a lung disease called mesothelioma, and industries are actively trying to downplay its dangers. Lebanon prohibited the import of asbestos in 1998, but did not ban the circulation and use of pre-existing products that are largely in the form of pipes produced at the Eternit factory in Shakka. After the factory shut down in 2000, the lung disease cases doubled because the products were already installed in houses. 80% of these cases were linked to the factory of around 700 employees in an industrial town with a population of 15,000. The local community has been using tons of asbestos-lined pipes that the factory dumped. First, our team of 5 students created an advocacy campaign to remove these pipes. Second, we plan on using specialized paint to insulate the asbestos roofs on buildings next to the factory. Third, we plan on a public declaration to grab the attention of the media. And lastly, we plan on creating programs to promote the safe handling of asbestos and to inform the public about the health concerns.
Around 258 million children and youth worldwide do not go to school. In Afghanistan, the 2021 takeover by the Taliban restricted girls and women in grade 6 and above from their right to education. Many forcibly displaced Afghans have sought refuge in neighboring countries to ensure their daughters continue their education. For those who remain in Afghanistan, however, access to education is a tremendous challenge.
The Summer Community Service Project was created to address the challenges of education access among marginalized and refugee youth in Afghanistan and beyond, offering free online courses and learning resources to prepare students for scholarships and higher education opportunities. This project operates discreetly, offering a safe and comfortable environment for students to learn and express themselves.
Reproductive health has been a global challenge, especially among women refugees in Lebanon. Today, women and girls make up approximately half of the world's refugees. In Lebanon, approximately 52% of the Syrian refugee population are female, and 27% are girls under the age of 18. Among the most significant challenges faced by this population is the lack of access to sexual and reproductive health care services due to the lack of access to formal schooling, the absence of sexual education in public school, low school enrollment, and societal taboos on sexual activity. To address this issue, our team has designed a community service project, CSP, that involves the creation and implementation of a culturally sensitive educational family planning module for children of all genders. The aim of this module is to inform school children and raise awareness on sexual and reproductive health care and rights.
By the end of 2021, almost 90 million people worldwide were forced to flee their homes due to conflict, violence, and natural disasters. These forcibly displaced populations include refugees who have crossed an international border to seek safety in another country. This makes it exceptionally difficult for refugee children and adolescents to have access to educational activities that can help them cope with their trauma and isolation. Syrian refugees in informal settlements in Lebanon, one of which is Al Yasmin and Dab'a, is characterized by unhealthy living conditions and a lack of access to basic services, such as education, which only 60% of these children have access to. While schools provide the core education, extracurricular activities are essential in opening up space for refugees to express themselves and develop their social, technical, and soft skills. Via our project Through Our Lens, adolescents will have the chance to learn the new skill of photography through a series of workshops, which will empower them, support their mental well-being, and help them deal with their traumatic experiences.
As a response to the electricity crisis in Lebanon, more homes are installing solar panels. However, this is leading to an increase in solar panel e-waste, which is expected to rise by an alarming 4,000% by 2030. Exposure to chemicals emitted from e-waste poses major health risks for the public and waste scavengers, leading to an increase in chronic diseases. In Beirut, an assessment estimated that there were 540 acid batteries on Omar Bayham Street. Once the solar batteries run out, they will be discarded in landfills, releasing 10,800 pounds of lead and 1,620 gallons of sulfuric acid into the environment. Waste scavengers, often miners, gather and sell the rubbish to Lebanese brokers, who then process or resell it. To address this issue, the community service project Rebattery has designed a business model that encompasses the entire spectrum of e-waste collection, from refurbishing to resale, ensuring the safe handling of the waste management process, as well as creating jobs for unemployed and young scavengers.
Approximately 2 billion people around the world do not have access to clean drinking water because of freshwater pollution. In Lebanon, the Ministry of Energy and Water lacks the infrastructure to support its freshwater sources due to poor sewage systems and improper waste disposal. The Hasbani River travels 40 kilometers through South Lebanon as a main water source for Hasbaya and neighboring towns. Recent tests of the river's water recorded cancer-causing agricultural pesticides, sewage bacteria, and illness-causing microbes like salmonella, as well as high concentrations of heavy metals and other chemicals that go far beyond guidelines set by World Health Organization. The CSP is a campaign showing the municipality of Hasbaya how constructed wetlands, a low-cost and eco-friendly way of water purification, can be used to clean the Hasbani River and promoting its use to ultimately ensure the health and safety of the local community. Ecotourism is a form of tourism that focuses on visiting natural areas. It is popular in Lebanon, which is famous for its natural sceneries. Tourism has been a primary source of income and employment for many Lebanese. In 2018, tourism accounted for 7% of Lebanon's overall economy. Due to the political situation, certain areas in Lebanon have received more attention than others. In addition, the recent economic crisis affected the tourism sector severely. Akkar, which includes Akroum, a mountain with various towns, is one of the poorest locations in Lebanon. This village has been neglected by the Lebanese states, but the population of Akkar is diverse, includes a mix of local residents as well as a high number of Syrian refugees, and yet it has a lot to offer for ecotourism. To promote Akroum as an emerging ecotouristic site, our team has designed several interventions which include the development of infrastructure for a well-equipped cultural hiking trail, the design of marketing and social media strategy, and the expansion of economic activities.
Thank you so much. So that, I think, gave you an insight about the rest of the day. And so every project of these will be unfolded through 7 minutes PowerPoint presentation. We're going to start with the gun violence in Ain Halwe. We have our moderator with us, Rima, and we're starting our event. Thank you.